Our main achievement this month was the completion of all establishing shots with this miniature model, the stone column with the city on top. Of course, we did all the shots from the movie itself, but also some more camera movements just to show it off and to document and preserve this model, because we're going to take it apart again in the future to reuse some of its components for something else. Most of the shots were done with the motion control set up in a vertical manner, so we could move up and down the column, sometimes at various angles, but roughly vertical. There was one particular scene from the movie which was quite challenging and interesting to pull off, because I wanted to try to replicate one of those vertigo shots. Basically traveling towards the model while you're zooming out. So the framing stays roughly the same, but the distortion of the lens changes, making it appear like everything gets elongated and stretched in the depth direction. I think if this effect is used very subtle, so it doesn't feel too artificial, it can have a really disorienting and overwhelming feel to it, making it appear like this model is really huge. And especially imagine it with all the fog layers which help to portray the depth of it. I think it will be exactly the effect I wanted to achieve. In order to pull it off, we set the rail at an angle, because it is really important that the camera points in the exact same direction as it's traveling for this. And then we used the focus puller from that motion control system and hooked it up to the camera. But instead of connecting it to the focus ring of the lens, we hooked it up to the zoom ring. I'm quite glad we have completed those establishing shots now, but before tearing down the set, there's one more thing we want to try out, and that's also a bit of an experiment, because there's one shot in the movie on another set which I think would benefit from a really quick zoom out, where you can basically, you have this scene with puppets inside, and then whoosh, you zoom out and you can see where the set was on the big model basically. And for that we want to align the old shot with the current model here, and then do a physical camera movement really quickly which moves away from the model. And as I'm not sure if it will work out, I'm not sure if it will end up in the movie, but I certainly want to try it before tearing down the set. So that will be one of the things for next month. One other thing which took quite some time last month was the production of that extra video about my light controller project, of course. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out here. It's basically an introduction to the topic and might be of interest to anyone who's doing any kind of miniature work or wants to do other kinds of lighting effects. I will continue working on that project as well. And as I made a lot of videos recently, I'm eager to keep this one short, so let's right away talk about this month's robot kits. This month we're going to complete the head of the character. So what you're getting is another piece of bronze sheet metal, which resembles something like the hair of the character. A little brass square rod with a few threaded holes, which connects the head with this hair piece. A little antenna, just like the original one from the movie, and one 5mm screw and 3 4mm screws. The manufacturing of this month's parts was not too complicated, but I was really eager to find a way how to bend this hair piece without heating it, because in the past I always had a lot of work polishing those pieces afterwards again, and especially with this little sharp edges on the hair piece, polishing it is really annoying. By default, this bronze alloy is really stiff and I had trouble bending it with pliers or anything at all. but I made a little fixture where I could screw on the sheet metal piece on a brass shape basically, which resembles the inside of the hairpiece. And then I machined a special groove in a block of steel, which resembles the outside shape of this hairpiece. And then I was able to basically press it with my arbor press into that shape, and that worked like a charm. The assembly this month should be fairly straightforward. We start with the little brass square rod and put it on the table in such a way that the threaded holes point to the top. And then we take the hairpiece and put it on top of this brass rod so that the holes in the hairpiece line up with the threads on this little rod. We use 2 of the 4mm screws and connect the little rod with the hairpiece, just like this. So now we take this little sub-assembly of the hairpiece and our little robot, who still has an open skull, so everyone can see that he has no brain. Let's cover that up. The hairpiece is not perfectly symmetrical. The rod is not exactly in the center, and we want to put it into his head in such a way that the square bar is a bit to the front side of his face, basically, so it doesn't interfere with this rather bulky neck axis. Just insert it like this, and the holes on the side of the head should line up with the threads on the little brass rod. Then we take the last 4mm screw and screw it in from the robot's right side, the one which has the wheel which controls the eyes. And then we take the antenna and the 5mm screw and put the screw through the antenna hole, and then carefully screw it into the left side of his head, together with the antenna basically. And when you're tightening that piece, make sure to align the antenna at a nice angle basically, so it's pointing slightly backwards. I think that looks best, but feel free to put it however you like it. And just like that, the head of the character is completed, and I think he looks really cute now with his hair and antenna, especially if you put on the round eye expression. Next up, we will work on the hands of the character, and lastly, he will get a door to cover his intestines, and there's also a small little piece missing at his butt, I suppose. So those will be the last remaining kits, and yeah, have fun with this month's assembly, and until next time. So that's it for this month's update. Thanks a lot for watching and for your continued support of my projects. It's much appreciated. See you soon again. Bye bye.